Have you ever wondered how they get the cheese into a stuffed crust pizza? Well, I did, and today you get to see me stuff it up in another fast food fight. I'm Chris, and this is the show where I review popular dishes from fast food chains and recreate them to look like their retail products, all whilst reducing their cost. Today I got Dominoes pizza, and I got all the ingredients from Woolworths. Ever had a craving for a premium grilled chicken pizza? Crunchy, fresh onions, and not one, not two, but 3 cheeses, mozzarella, provolone and cheddar on a hand-tossed crust. As much as I am sure that they tossed off into the crust, I won't be adding any special sauce to this recipe. It looks good and it tastes awesome. A little bit over $20, I ain't complaining. So this is my first attempt at a stuffed crust pizza, so feel free to use this video as an example of what not to do. I fight with my crust flopping out. Why? If you like stuffing your crust, please feel free to subscribe. Ding-a-ling-a-ling. So let's get cooking. Start by adding 1.5 cups of water to a bowl. Add a tablespoon of yeast, a tablespoon of sugar, and mix until you see bubbles. Leave it aside until it gets foamy. Next, get 4 cups of all-purpose flour, add 1 tablespoon of salt and 1/3 cup of olive oil, and then add your yeasty, sugary water mixy thingy into the flour. Give it a mix until it's smooth and cover it with cling wrap and put it aside for about 45 minutes-ish, or until you can poke it till it's spongy. Next, you want to start on your oregano spice mix. Add 2 tablespoons of oregano dried spice, 2 tablespoons of garlic powder, 1 tablespoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of ground black pepper, 1 tablespoon of chili flakes, 1 tablespoon of basil, 1 tablespoon of water, and grind it up into a coarse fine powder. If it is still too damp, simply dry it out in the microwave before adding it to your pizza. Next, you will want to make your chicken seasoning. You will want to add 1 tablespoon of chicken salt and 2 tablespoons of smoky barbecue seasoning salt rubbed together and grind them up. Now you want to prepare your chicken. You don't need much chicken for this recipe. I'm using about 2 chicken thigh fillets. Just trim them down into small pieces. I made mine about 2 centimeter cubes. Next, add some oil and your barbecue chicken salt seasoning to a small skillet or fry pan. Get it nice and hot before you add your chicken. You only need to crust the chicken, as it's going to go into the oven, so give it a few minutes either side. Next, add your Rasher bacon. I'm simply cutting some smoky bacon rashers with a pair of scissors into small strips. Pack them into a separate fry pan. Cook them both at the same time if you like. Next thing you want to do is slice up 1 red onion. Then you want to uncover your dough and knead it for probably about another 10 minutes or so. The trick is with the dough, just wait till it's nice and smooth and spongy. Let gravity do the work. Next you want to add some olive oil to the tray and rub it in with your hand. Push the dough in the middle and work it outwards to the edge of the tray. To make the stuffed crust, you need to extend the dough over the outside about 3 centimeters. It's a barbecue sauce base, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have ketchup. So add your ketchup. Add your barbecue sauce base. Now this is where I stuffed it up. I added mozzarella into the stuffed crust. And once you're done with all that jazz, you've got to pin it down with a fork. Now add your chicken and bacon. Add more cheese. I added my chopped red onion to the oregano mix and I spooned it over the pizza. Top it with a bit more mozzarella. And because I love me barbecue sauce, I just added another squirt on top. Chuck it in the oven for about 15 minutes and here's your end result. Not too bad. Only problem is when you slice it up and take a bite out of it, you realise that the crust isn't stuffed after all. Most of the cheese just melted into the crust, and it wasn't really all that appetising after that. So, back to the drawing board. So after about 10 minutes worth of research on the internet, I reached the overwhelming conclusion that the secret to making these stuffed crust pizzas is actually mozzarella cheese, but the stringy type of variety. So, here we go. Same recipe, different conclusion. Yeah, you want to whack it in the oven for about 250 degrees centigrade for about 15 minutes, and that's the result you should get. If you cut it open and have a look inside, as you can see, pretty cheesy. I even had enough ingredients left over to make these little fellas. Pretty good treat, or a snack for later on, up to you. This has been Chris from Munch. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you next week for another adventure of fast food fight. This is an onion.